In the labyrinthine corridors of General Hospital, where secrets bury truths deeper than any grave and love blurs the boundaries between justice and loyalty, a mother's desperate decision threatens to change everything. Nina Reeves Corinthos, the woman who has survived heartbreak, betrayal, and scandal, now finds herself standing on the precipice of ruin, ready to sacrifice her own freedom to protect the one person who still matters more than life itself, her daughter, Willow Tate. As the sun rises over Port Charles, what unfolds isn't merely another twist of fate. It's a testament to a mother's unconditional love and the devastating cost it exacts. Rumors had already been swirling in the halls of GH. Willow, who had recently returned to work part-time as a nurse after her grueling battle with leukemia, had been keeping secrets. Close friends like Sasha Gilmore and Michael Corinthos sensed something off, a restlessness in Willow's smile, a shadow in her eyes that hinted at a past she wished would stay buried. Meanwhile, Nina had been struggling in silence. Though her relationship with Sonny Corinthos had ended in heartbreak, Nina had tried to find solace in her magazine, Crimson, and in building a cautious peace with Willow. But a mother's instinct is rarely fooled. Nina saw the fear in Willow's eyes. The fear of a truth so explosive it could destroy everything Willow had rebuilt. And then, like a match striking gasoline, everything ignited. A break-in at the Quartermain estate was all over the news. The intruder hadn't just taken valuables. They'd accessed encrypted files, medical documents, and a digital archive Michael kept for Aurora Media. Within hours, a digital forensics team traced the hack to an IP address connected to Willow's old laptop, tucked away in the back of her closet. Willow was summoned for questioning. In the conference room of the Port Charles Police Department, Detective Harrison Chase, once Willow's love, now a friend, struggled to keep his tone professional. "Willow, your laptop was the point of entry. Do you know anything about this?" Willow's lips parted, words caught in her throat. Her hands trembled. Before she could speak, Nina burst into the room, breathless, her eyes locked on her daughter. "She didn't do this," Nina said firmly. "I did." The room fell silent. Within an hour, Nina's confession was on record. She admitted she had used Willow's laptop to access the files. When asked why, her voice cracked. "I was trying to protect my daughter," she whispered, eyes shining with unshed tears. "I thought if I could find something that would keep her safe, I'd do it. I didn't mean for it to get this far." To the police, it looked like an open and shut case. But in truth, Nina's story had holes. Chase could see it. Michael could see it. And Willow, heart in her throat, knew the truth. She had done it. Haunted by guilt, Willow had tried to find evidence against a business associate she suspected of threatening her family. But Nina, ever watchful, discovered what Willow was doing and chose to protect her daughter by confessing instead. Michael was furious when he heard. In the living room of the gatehouse, his voice rose, uncharacteristically raw. "Willow, why didn't you tell me? Why did you let her do this?" Willow, pale and shaken, could only whisper, "I couldn't let you see me like that again. Weak. Reckless. After everything you did to save me." Michael's anger softened, replaced by an aching protectiveness. "You're not weak, Willow. You're human. But letting your mother take the fall? That isn't you." Meanwhile, Sonny Corinthos stood quietly at the doorway, torn. His feelings for Nina had never fully vanished, despite betrayal and divorce. Watching her sacrifice herself reopened wounds he thought had healed. He remembered when Nina had kept secret that Sonny was alive in Nixon Falls, and how it shattered them both. Now, she was choosing to protect Willow at the cost of her own freedom. At the jail, Nina and Willow faced each other through the glass partition. Willow's eyes brimmed with tears. "Mom, why?" she whispered, voice cracking. "Why would you do this?" "Because you're my daughter," Nina said softly, her hand pressed against the glass. "Because every mistake I've made trying to protect you, even the ones that hurt you." Willow pressed her hand to the glass, matching Nina's. "But this isn't right. You can't go to prison for me." Nina shook her head, pain etched deep in every line of her face. "Willow, listen to me. You've spent your life paying for other people's choices. Let me do this. Let me protect you for once." For a long, agonizing moment, neither woman spoke. The silence said what words never could. The deep, complicated love between a mother and daughter who had found each other too late, but who loved each other fiercely nonetheless. Port Charles buzzed with gossip. Some saw Nina's actions as proof of her endless scheming, while others saw it as the first true act of selflessness from a woman who had spent too long fighting the wrong battles. At Crimson, staff members rallied to keep the magazine afloat, even as advertisers threatened to pull out over the scandal. Maxie Jones, Nina's loyal friend, refused to let the magazine die. "We owe her this," Maxie told the team, voice steady despite her heartbreak. At the Quartermaine mansion, tension simmered. Brooklyn Quartermaine whispered to Chase late one night, "Do you really think Nina did it?" Chase hesitated. "No," he admitted. "But she's willing to go to prison to protect Willow. And that says something about the woman she's become." Even Carly Corinthos, Nina's longtime rival, found herself shaken. At Kelly's, she told Sam McCall, "I never thought I'd say this, but maybe Nina finally understands what it means to put your children first." Sonny was haunted by the memory of Nina's confession. He knew the law well enough to understand what might happen if she were convicted. Prison wouldn't just break Nina, it might destroy the fragile relationship she'd built with Willow. At his office, Sonny confided in his trusted associate, Brick. "If I intervene, it might backfire," Sonny admitted. "But if I do nothing, she'll go to prison for something she didn't do." Brick nodded. "What does your heart say, boss?" Sonny stared out the window at the Port Charles skyline. "That I owe it to her, to both of them, to help. But I don't know if they'll let me." Willow's guilt consumed her. Every sleepless night, every glance from her children, reminded her of the mother who was paying the price for her mistake. She knew she couldn't let it stand. One stormy night, Willow stood in the kitchen of the gatehouse, trembling hands dialing Chase's number. "Harrison, I have to tell you something," she whispered. Her voice barely rose above the patter of rain against the windows. "I did it. It was me. My mother's innocent." At the police station, Chase listened in silence. His heart broke for Willow, for Nina, and for what the truth would cost them all. Willow met Nina in the visitors' area once more, heart-pounding. "Mom," I told Chase, Willow confessed, tears falling freely. "I couldn't let you do this." Nina's eyes widened, pain and love warring within them. "Willow, why?" "Because I can't live with myself," Willow sobbed. "You taught me to be brave, even when you didn't mean to. And I can't let you pay for my mistakes." For a long moment, mother and daughter simply looked at each other. Two women bound by blood and heartbreak, finally united by the choice neither wanted to make. The courtroom overflowed with familiar faces. Michael, Sonny, Carly, Sasha, Brooklyn, Maxie, and even Liesl Albrecht, Nina's fierce aunt. The air was thick with tension. As Willow prepared to testify, Nina grabbed her hand, whispering, "Whatever happens, I'm proud of you. I love you." Willow choked back a sob, nodding. On the stand, Willow confessed. She detailed how fear for her family had driven her to the desperate act, how she had been ready to let herself face the consequences, but her mother stepped in first. The jury listened, spellbound. The prosecutor argued Willow's confession was merely an attempt to shield Nina. But as testimony continued, Michael's, Chase's, even Sonny's, the truth emerged. Nina had taken the blame out of love, not guilt. After days of deliberation, the jury returned. The courtroom was silent as the foreperson spoke. "We find the defendant, Nina Reeves Corinthos, not guilty." Nina gasped, hand flying to her mouth. Willow collapsed into Michael's arms, sobbing with relief. The judge ordered a separate investigation into Willow's actions, but in light of her honesty and lack of malicious intent, she was sentenced to community service rather than prison. For Willow, it was justice. For Nina, it was freedom, but at the cost of everything she had been willing to sacrifice. After the trial, Nina and Willow sat together on a park bench overlooking the harbor. The sun shimmered on the water, gentle waves reflecting light like scattered diamonds. "You didn't have to do that," Willow whispered. Nina smiled sadly. "Neither did you." They sat in silence, the breeze tugging at their hair. Finally, Willow spoke. "All my life, I thought I didn't need a mother, that I was better off without one. But now, I can't imagine not having you." Nina's eyes filled with tears. "And I can't imagine my life without you, Willow. You're my daughter. Nothing else matters." They embraced, the weight of years of pain and misunderstanding lifting just enough for love to break through. Life in Port Charles settled into a new normal. At Crimson, Nina returned to work, humbled but stronger. Her reputation, though tarnished, now carried a layer of respect. Willow threw herself into her job at the hospital, using her experience to advocate for patients facing legal and personal crises. Her marriage with Michael deepened, built on newfound honesty. Sonny, standing at a distance, watched Nina and Willow reconcile. For the first time in years, he felt hope for them, and maybe even for himself. At the gatehouse one evening, Willow tucked her children into bed. As she turned off the light, she paused, whispering a prayer of gratitude, not just for their safety, but for the mother she had found so late in life. At Nina's apartment, Nina placed a framed photo of Willow on the mantel. Beside it, a photo of Nellie, her other daughter, lost to darkness and tragedy. Nina closed her eyes, silently promising both daughters the same thing, to love them no matter what. In the end, Port Charles didn't see a schemer in Nina anymore. They saw a mother who had been willing to go to prison for her child, a love so fierce it rewrote the narrative of her life. And for Willow, who had spent years fearing she would never truly belong, she finally found where she did belong, in her mother's heart. In the unpredictable tapestry of General Hospital, where alliances shift and secrets abound, some truths remain unshakable. Love can't change the past, but it can shape the future. And sometimes it takes losing everything, or being willing to finally find what matters most.